Hey, hey. We do the intro yet. We just gonna let y'all get on the thing here first. Listen to the sounds of Dylan. Go ahead and hit that highlight and follow. Some of y'all be abusing that highlight, man. Y'all hit highlight and follow. There we go.
Oh.
There we go. We in here. Good morning. Good morning. No, your ears and eyes are not deceiving you. It is a Friday morning, and it is snowy in the beautiful city of Columbus, Ohio. I got my oatmeal. I got my brother and sister with me on the check-in right now. This is Good Friday, Good Life Show. Good Life Show that puts on the table mental wellness, healing, thought-provoking topics, healed relationships, healed trauma. But we also talk about day-to-day things as well. It's not just a holistic show. We talk about real things, real topics. And this was birthed out of a Thursday that Tim came on the Layne Love Morning Show. And from that, he helped so many people, including myself, that we just gave him the show and said on Thursday, came back every Thursday, and that was very impactful. And then after that, because of my job situation, we had to move everything to Friday. Once we got Friday, then we picked up Walli. And the show's been taking off ever since. But we want to let you know that it would not be possible if it was not for you. You, the listener, you, the viewer. It's all about you, right? Because based on your comments, based on your likes, your shares, and everything like that, you make the show what it is. So good morning to you. I just want to say good morning to my co-pilots.
Peace. Good morning.
Good morning.
We here. We live.
Yeah.
Snowed in, but live.
Absolutely. I just want to know where did we become some wimps when it came to this weather, man? It's just snow, y'all.
It's the grown-up thing.
Is that what it is?
If I was still a kid, I'd be out there. I'd be like, come on, let's drive somewhere. Let's go somewhere. Turn up. It's the fact that I got responsibilities and I'm a grown-up now that I'm like, man, bump that snow.
That's what I was going to say, too. You got things you can miss out on now. But I love the snow. I love the weather. I think it helps us as people being able to experience all the elements, you know what I mean? And still try to find a good quality of life, still try to push through and not just hibernate. That's hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Easy to bundle up and be in bed all day, you know what I mean?
That was one of the things that I said to my eldest when we moved back to the city. It was like, yo, why don't people who live in these type of temperatures realize how mentally stronger they are than the rest of the people? If you're living 365 and it's bright and sunny every day, and you know the temperature plays on our emotions and our feelings so much. So the fact that we do have to adjust the mind and be like, man, it's not cold outside. Oh, that snow is just frozen water. Like, you know, precipitation, you good. You know, we have to really trick the mind and prepare ourselves to weather the storm.
Yeah, because I'm gonna quote Minister Society. We are from a tropical, you know what I'm saying, continent. So therefore, you know what I'm saying, as far as melanated people go, of course, we're not used to winter months. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that we definitely have to, you know, get our mind into. Wally's been to Africa, so I'm pretty sure it's like that all year round. Sunny.
And they get cold, right? But they cold is like a couple hours. And it's only like maybe 50, 55, and it's certain seasons, right? And so it'll get cold, but it's only for a couple hours. And next thing you know, you're like, oh, okay. It's getting the weather is minding the right business. It's actually accommodating me. Like I'm supposed to be accommodated, I feel like, with the weather. And when we talk about weather in Ghana and Africa and stuff, I felt like the weather is really I mean, I know we learned the science behind it, but I feel like it's really attached to our harmony towards one another. Like we have a lot in control. You know how they say like the natives do like the rain dance, right? And that was like a thing that we were semi-taught, or a storyline you would hear about, like, you know, for their crops when it was a dry season, or when they was like, yo, all right, God, what you doing up there? Like, you know, we need this water. They would go out there and influence and manifest it by doing the dance. So I feel like the more I've traveled, I think that here we're so disconnected in the States, like when it comes to community and village and neighbors and stuff like that. Like most people don't know their neighbors. They see them, they can give you a description or tell you like, yeah, he leave, he do this and that and the other, but they don't know them.
You must have been reading my mind, Walli, because before Tim comes with the bullet points, I want to put that on the table. When it comes to a village, who deserves help and who doesn't, right? Talk about who deserves help and who doesn't. So we'll take a family scenario, and we'll take the person that's always doing the right, and they run into a little patch. Those people tend to get the least help, versus the one who always messes up their money, vice versa the one who always gets into a certain amount of trouble, and just makes all the wrong decisions. But people tend to have a heart for this person. They tend to make excuses for this person. And we want to know, when it comes to a village, and there's different aspects that we can talk about this briefly, but who deserves help? Because as Country Wayne had said on Shannon Sharp show, he gets a great feeling inside that he was able to pay his brother $1 million, you know, and he brought his whole family in, and it's become a tight-knit family to where everybody's growing, everybody's eating and stuff like that. So how do you know within your village who gets that pass and who doesn't?
Can I go first, Tim?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I think hearing you say it like that, I think it's more so like the people, first of all, like I think once you realize what it is that you're needing and that you're desiring from the people and that you're willing to put out, you start speaking affirmations. You start speaking that the right people, you start speaking even about their energy and that and the other. And I think as you're speaking, it's confirmation as people are coming in. Like you and Tim was confirmation on what I already was speaking in my own private world. So I had to be like, okay, they could be some imitators, but I already know what I had put out there. I already know what I was asking for, right? When it came to this arena. And so as the universe delivered, I had the opportunity to put my energy into this, right? And if y'all ain't who y'all say y'all is, I'm gonna know because I've already been speaking what it is I need. So it's like, it's not that I'm gonna cut anybody out, more so that they'll excuse themselves if they ain't a part of whatever is going on this way.
For me, I think it's the opposite. Most of the things we learn, we have to think in opposites. But I think the person who has the best chance of success should get the most help. And we've been taught the opposite. We've been taught basically pity. Help people because you pity them, or because they have a handicap, or because they didn't start with as many resources. But I think a strong, successful village, they put the resources into the people who can do the most with them. So if Alicia has the best garden, I'm giving her all my seeds, not the person who's not turning crops. You feel me? Like it's waste. And that's how a lot of us live. You know what I mean? We live through pity. We look who has the least and say, let's give them the most. But them having the least isn't random. They got themselves there. Everybody homeless, it wasn't by accident. A lot of them had jobs and homes and families, and they lost it. And it's because everyone was pouring their resources in them. They couldn't manage and they couldn't handle. You was just putting them further behind the 8 ball and under more pressure. So to me, the people who can handle these things deserves it all. But again, I think the ego created this reality. Oh, well, let's not give them everything because then they're going to get bigger. And then they're going to, you know what I mean? So they're trying to even the playing field, and no one's benefiting from that.
Yeah. And I noticed that people who don't have as much have an entitled feeling. Like, man, they got all this stuff and they stingy. Or they got all this going on. And they a little bit. I'm like, we have the same 24 hours.
Right. That part.
And the thing that's different, they're not going to want to change. The thing that's different is the mindset.
Right.
But to change your mindset, you got to first hold yourself accountable for having a messed up mindset. You got to realize I'm the problem. And most people not going to do that because nothing comes with it. You know what I mean? You don't get a hug. You don't get a trophy. You don't get a plaque. You just hold yourself accountable. So once people start realizing you're going to get that help when you ask for it. You know, my second thing is the people who ask for the help. A lot of times people do not ask for help. We just force it on them. Or we decide what we think is best for them. And it don't work.
So when you guys do charitable things, what's going through your mind when you're at a charity event or when you're giving homeless and when you're giving what's your purpose in that
I ask mine, is this provoking actual change? I don't give homeless people money because what they gonna do with the money? You know what I mean? Like I give them clothes, I give them resources, I get them bottled water, I get them fruit. You know what I mean? So to me, first people got to ask, what are you trying to change? And me, when I do charity, I'm just leveling the playing field. Because again, some of them didn't eat today. Some of them didn't have anywhere to lay their head. So I'm giving them what I feel like any human being should need, whether you're good, bad, rich, poor, it doesn't matter. Every human being has basic necessities. And I feel like since we live in convenience so more, we're giving them convenience. We're giving homeless people convenience. We're giving them McDonald's and money. And their life is not set up the way your life is set up. You know what I mean? So for me, I ask myself, what do they need? And if it's just advice, I give them advice. Again, I think pitying people is a negative thing. I don't think that's a good thing. So I don't like to pity people. I like to just do what I can to make them
people
feel
say
human.
you don't have, please don't pity me. Like that's like, it's a turnoff. I think internally when you're feeling people pity you rather than them have what's the word I'm looking for?
What you mean, like empathy or sympathy?
Empathy, right. I think to be able to empathize where you are in your space, I think is going to that, okay, what do they need, rather than pitying them like, oh my gosh, I can't believe. No, it's happened to a lot of us. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, sometimes you don't, when you're owning and you're being accountable to your situation, or when you wake up in the situation, it's not always a lot of love, but it is pity, because I think pity allows you to pity allows the person that can help or make a change, like an escape, like, oh, I feel sorry for you.
Yes.
Man, that's messed up, bro. Damn.
But then look at the mentality, Wally and Tim. If I help, and I'm not saying me per se, I'm giving you guys a scenario. If I help this person that's less fortunate, I look like the hero. I look like the person, and I don't have to worry about them surpassing me. If I help this talented person, if I help this person who's good at resources, they might surpass me. And this is why the village doesn't ever get created, because it's like there's all this fear of, if I help you too much, I know your ambition or I know your intellect, and putting you in a position is going to put you in a position to surpass me. And I think that's whack. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but karma repays them. You know what I mean? Yeah. The village is always getting built. They're just not a part of it. And that's that selfishness karma gave them. Because a lot of people think if they don't show up, the party won't go on. You know what I mean? That's their ego. And that's where you go through ego death when you realize I don't have to be present for it to be a good party. These people are going to do what they need to do to make sure it's a good party. So now I'm looking at them with love instead of pity, like, oh man, I bet they wish I was there and I did my moonwalk. I know it'd kill them. You know what I mean? Like to me, that's toxic. It's selfishness. It's not you saying, well, they can't have a good time without me. It's me saying I can't have a good time without them. That's why I mean, all of this stuff starts with accountability. Like, even when it comes to KYP, you got to know yourself. You dig? Like, you got to know your personnel sometimes. Right. And that's where we get into trouble. We are trying to have two things the same as once in every single scenario instead of having discernment to see. Sometimes I have to sit out from the fun, but that doesn't mean they're not having fun. You know what I mean? And I think that's how we come together as people. But it's so many bitter people. You know, like the video Wally sent me. It's a lot of bitter people out here. They wish they got that college degree. They wish they was the one with the ring. They wish they was the one with the house. You know what I'm saying? And they can't be honest about those things because to the outside looking in, everything's great. They have this perfect life that people wish they had. You feel me? So a lot of it to me is delusion, man. Like,
right. I agree with that. The bitter part is it's sad because it's like I guess I don't really I understand the mentality and I've seen it before of like one up and one another person. I just feel like for me personally, I know like my stuff is so unique. If there
yeah,
was another person that is doing what I'm doing, I'm excited because I don't know the roadmap. So it'd be nice to see someone else in this lane and doing some of the things that I endeavor to build so I can be like, oh, okay, they did that. Let me see if I can make a little change and implement it my way. Right now, I feel like I'm making the whole map when it comes to birth work and aligning the mental side to the life side. Beginning life. And so I feel like I don't know, that is a damaging endless thought process to think that it's so many DJs in the city, but every DJ got their own style and flow. Like even when they have like the little redo things, like each DJ they can come with the same list of songs, but how they play them, how they mix them down is gonna make you move and groove a certain way. So there's really no way of us, that competition and that competing and that jealousy and that envy thing is, I think, is so damaging to the Black community because we should be able to like, be excited for like all these rappers. I just think if we was like, trying to compare, man, everybody got their own style of flow. Even if you sound like this other bro, you're gonna make me bop a little bit different than this guy did. Like it's everybody. So if we can just understand we're this big dope gumbo soup, and we need everybody.
yeah,
Everybody that's willing to play their part, we want you to be a part of the team.
But we can't act like we've always been evolved, right? Good morning, Autumn. Good morning again. Today I said good morning, babe. I don't know if you heard me say it. We act like we're evolved, and Tim's homeboy Trip said this one thing, and this clip is going down. He said, "Man, you have to admit sometimes when you're bitter. You have to admit sometimes when you're jealous. It's a human emotion. You know what I'm saying? I
yeah,
can't say that in my lifetime I wasn't jealous of someone. I was. I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? Put me in that position, I'll kill it. You know what I'm saying? He got that way because of who he is, who he know, who put him on, da 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 da. And I don't know what was going on behind the scenes, what his work ethic was, or him aligning himself, as Walisha would say, to get a position. I'm just going at the end result and looking at my talent and feeling like, oh, put me up there. I bet you they would sing a different song. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I evolved thanks to Tim and a lot of people that have helped me do self-work, you know what I'm saying, and shadow work to say
yeah.
it was okay at that time to be bitter. It was okay at that time to be jealous, right?
And I love the analogy you use, you and Walisha, because I think this is a time for clarity. I don't think the issue is the comparison in itself. It becomes problematic when people don't weigh all the facts. When someone could just look at Drake and say, well, Drake's better than me because he's a rapper and he makes a lot of money. You know what I mean? But maybe Drake can't whistle. Maybe Drake can't play basketball. Maybe Drake can't cook. You haven't analyzed the things that you do that he wishes he knew how to do. That's where people have a problem at, because you're putting this person on a pedestal and you don't know them for real. You know what I mean? But this is what creates the bitterness, because we'll use Whitney Houston, for example. When you start in Prince, when you start talking about yourself like a god, people try to humanize you. They wait for you to mess up. They wait for you to do something so they can be like, oh, so you ain't a god after all, are you? It's all that's bitterness. You know what I mean? So the problematic part for me is when I had to realize I was comparing a fish and a bird on both of their ability to swim. I wasn't looking at all the parameters. I didn't bring in flying into the equation because that would give you a whole different calculation of what you think is happening. So I'm only looking at what I think this person does well, but don't realize they got 10 things that I do they wish they knew how to do. When I call my kids and I can talk on the phone, Drake's like, man, I wish I had that. When I go, you feel what I'm saying? So this is how we have to start looking at life to get the whole picture. You can compare, but compare fairly. If you're gonna play those games, play the game right. And a lot of people want to half-ass play these games. They want to compare, but just certain things. No, compare everything. Compare your height. Compare your weight. Compare your complexion. You feel me? But you're not going through all those because you might find out Drake ain't too different than you. But you have to believe he's different than you. You have to believe he's doing something different because then that excuse you for not doing whatever you feel you should do. He is your crutch. You know what I mean?
Ask you this, Tim.
Yeah.
So if an author who has paid their dues and went through all these, logistics and education and said, well, Tim didn't go through this, that, and the other, and he's an author and he calls himself an author. Is it his job to speak on your success? Because this is what we're seeing a lot on social media these days, is that two people that do the same thing, as Walisha was saying, and the one achieves more success. Why are you speaking about what's going on with me? No matter God, why are you speaking on that?
Especially
which shows to me you didn't achieve more success. See, these are the parameters I measure things on. I measure things on principle. The fact that you would have to come to address me about my career means you in your heart don't feel you've done more than me. Because I don't have to address anybody about anything they've done because my work will speak for itself. So when people get in those little tips, you're showing yourself your value. Because a person who valued themselves wouldn't enter into a debate. Because what do we win at the end? We're just arguing opinions. There is no winner. There is no loser. So the fact that you thought you won something shows you're nowhere near where I am. Because mentally, I don't have to play games like that. I have nothing to prove. Can't nobody take anything from me I've done. Can't nobody put what they've done side by side because I guarantee, again, they're going to choose that small window. So what I'm going to say is, okay, let's compare how we are with our children. Let's compare how we talk to our loved ones. Let's compare how we treat ourselves. Let's compare how we meditate and how we do yoga. Do people even do that? Let's compare how often we fast. See, if we wanted to compare, I could bring up things. I could wipe the board with anybody. So if somebody can say, well, I bake better than you, awesome. You got some cookies? You got something for me? Like, let's see. You know what I mean? But me showing you I know who I am is I don't even have to enter those debates because it doesn't prove anything. The fact that you have to have that argument is telling me everything I need to know about you. It's saying you don't have real success. Your success was validated from other people. So guess what? You're going to keep needing them to validate your success. Yeah. I'm successful just because I wake up in the morning and I have a good attitude. I'm grateful I got an opportunity today. I'm grateful I get to be me. I'm grateful I get to talk to people I love. I've already won. So how can anyone beat me? You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? So when anyone tries to enter that type of agreement, it could be Shakespeare. He's showing his hand. He's showing me where I already trump you. So then I ask that person, you sure you want to do this?
So the thing is, okay, so Joe Budden went through this 6 months ago.
Uh-huh.
And he crossed over, and the world knows that Joe is not a rapper anymore, right? Joe's not. But he's a culture expert, shall we say that. So now Drake comes out with an album, and Joe Budden has an opinion on it because he's, self-proclaimed as an authority on what's cool and what's not. Mm-hmm. Drake gets offended, and he runs down his whole career like, okay, you want to talk about careers? Let's talk about yours. But it was like a bully situation because, like, Drake, we know where you are. We know that Joe did not achieve this particular success. He was just saying, in comparison to your projects, this one is pretty lackluster because you're not putting any thought into your art. You're not putting any creativity. You're actually just being a prostitute for the industry at this time.
Wow.
And so Drake takes offense to this.
Yeah, because that sounds like a hater from me. From here. That sounds like a hater.
On which side, though?
On both sides.
Joe Budden, to me, yeah, I understand you saying that Drake is a bully thing, but this is what people do. They throw rocks and then they hide their hand. And everybody ain't going for that. Some people are going to call you out about that. So my thing with Joe is I wouldn't call him a cultural expert. My thing with Joe is he's out of bounds because you've never experienced all the people he come after. You've never reached those heights in your careers. So you can have an opinion, but your opinion is not valid. You've never done what he's doing. Joe Budden ain't never sold out no tour or no show. Ain't nobody dying to go see Joe Budden or throw that Joe Budden track on at the party. You've never done the same way he came at the Lil Yachty and said, well, he probably gonna blow through all his money. He ain't, bro, you're a hater. That's some hater shit. And he's disguising it now behind being a podcaster. That's how he can give these opinions and say, well, it's just my opinion. And my opinion is you sound like a hater, bro. Because I don't hear anything he's saying on how to uplift these people or what they can do with this money or how they can change. You're just saying, well, don't do that. Okay. What else? You going to give me a suggestion? Or you just going to tell me
I guess
what I'm doing?
Right. I guess I was hater. I guess I was going to ask, was it, did he make the comment and, like you said, have a solution? Because he made it against one person. So he didn't compare himself to Drake. He compared Drake, his new album, to his old one.
Right. Well, he's comparing because some people want to call Drake a rapper. And a lot of rappers are coming out saying Drake's a pop artist. He's not a rapper.
Right.
And to me, again, it's who cares? My thing is, what point are you trying to make? Is Drake not putting artists on? Is Drake not selling shows? Did Drake not turn Toronto's economy around? So what point are you making? I get it. His stuff sounds like pop. Great. But who cares? That's why I feel like it sounds like a hater.
So this is what I'm saying, though. This has, let's bookmark that, and this has now seeped over into the comedian world. And I'm getting my point, right? I'm getting back to my point, is that now the people who have not achieved success are poking fun and trying to pull down the people who have achieved enormous success. Kevin Hart's, the Faison Loves and the Country Waynes. It's just a lot of talk going back. So this is what I'm saying is that I think, Tim, you pointed this out or said something in the comment. I'm like, why are we the only, and I'm talking about African Americans, why do we have to pull down our star? Why do we have to pull down our it person? You know what I'm saying? And it goes back to what I said before. Why don't we help each other? Why aren't we helping each other move our culture forward to close the economic gap, to close the violence amongst ourselves, to close the hunger and the things that we see that destroy our neighborhoods every day? Why aren't we helping? But again, it's easy, and that's a cop-out to say the crab in the barrel. I'm tired of hearing that.
Yeah, it ain't that. It ain't that. Honestly, it's people aren't real. You know what I mean? There was a time and period people had to be real. You ain't had no choice. Somebody could come to your house and kill you for not being real. People had to be real, and nowadays they're not. And I love that you put it in comedy because that proves my point. How people look at two things differently. They'll look at Drake as if he's doing something different than Kevin Hart. But with Cat Williams, people like that is saying they're doing the same thing. So if you're going to support Kevin Hart, you should be on Team Drake.
Right.
Kevin Hart ain't work for shit and ain't earned shit. Most of his career was given to him. That's the point Cat Williams made, and can't nobody refute that. That's a fact. He was the only comedian to have a movie in his first year of being even heard of. Who else has done that? Dave Chappelle didn't do that. Richard Pryor didn't do that. So you telling me Kevin Hart's better than Richard Pryor? No. But when people say that about Drake, we're supposed to just get it. Well, Drake's this. So we got to look at everybody the same. That's the problem. People pick and choose their favorites and they want to look at them differently than their neighbor. No. If your neighbor's a deadbeat because he don't see his kids, guess what? Your hero is too. And that's the problem. People want it two ways. Nah. Kevin Hart is nothing of what people think he is. There's people who busted their ass to get not even further than where he is. I can name hella people from Patrice O'Neal. I could go down the fucking list. And they're they will blow these people out the water. But again, people need that false sense of safety. People need to feel like we have a savior. We have a messiah. That's why a lot of these black leaders aren't stepping up anymore. Because when they did, they're like, our community, get behind me. And they didn't. They went out and started watching the Madea movie. They went out and supported everything that goes against our culture while trying to act like they're fighting for our culture. We cannot have it two ways. Either we're going to protect the real or everything is going to start to be fake.
It's the man in the dress thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Wally, because I got something to say to Tim.
Well, no, I saw you perplexed. Like, what's wrong with Madea? I think that
no, but continue. Go ahead.
I think that you're right in terms of. I remember a while ago, I forget who said it. Like, we all need to pick a side. Like, even within the Black community, we need to pick a side. Like, okay, we can't all say like again, when it comes to music or when it comes to certain things, we just got to stand on our words. And I think that when it comes to like the entertainment, we got to understand that we've been being entertained by entertainers from our youth. So we take on a certain understanding about them and their characteristics. So I think when it comes to the Drake thing, you know, he came in Disney and that and the other. So it's different stages of this character, of this entertainer. And people haven't understand that they just a person. Like that entertainment side is like their hobby. That's what they do for fun. They just happen to get paid for it because of the society and how we do money, how we do our economy. So that whatever their skill is when it comes to entertaining us is higher above a doctor or these other things. They're deemed more worthy. Your entertainment is like everything. So for us to be entertained is higher than the president. You know what I'm saying? This is a higher payment than the president. As if you're entertained, because we don't want, and especially in American society, they don't want your mind to be thoughtless. They want you to be thinking about something all the time, because if you thinking about something, you become the ultimate consumer. You're gonna buy into everything they put in front of you. You're gonna want to grab up and take up of your own. So they created all of these things, I really believe, to control our minds, to control us. Mm-hmm. And we just think it's life. Like we like, oh no, you're supposed to have X, Y, and Z to be fulfilled. And at the end of the day, what about just having you? What if you was just you and you had to entertain yourself? Could you do that? Could you live with just you? No, we need the Beyoncés, we need the Jay-Z's, we need the Drakes, we need the Kevin Harts, we need the Cat Williams, because we've been trained to be entertained. We need some level of entertainment in our life. That's what it's about now.
But we're talking about, Walli and Tim, life just being fair to some and not to others. And I want to give Tim an example. So, Tim, if I win $1 million in the lottery, if I win $1 million and I hire, and I look at it as an opportunity. Let's put this in context. I look at this as an opportunity. So I say, okay, I didn't work for it, but I'm going to hire some financial advisors so I can make some smart decisions. I'm going to take my time and make sure I safeguard this money to where it can grow and feed the rest of my family and help. Keyword today is help the rest of my family. Okay, that's one scenario. Let's bookmark that. And there's a person who started from nothing and had to work hard. And they did the same thing. Once they got to a certain level of savings, hire some financial advisors and achieve the same success. Who's right and who's wrong at this point? You know what I'm saying? I looked at this as an opportunity. It came easy, but at the same time, I made right decisions and I'm feeding my family. So when I'm saying like looking a gift horse in the face, like a Steve Harvey, a Cat Williams, I'm not Cat Williams, a Kevin Hart or a Drake, who the industry said, you know what, you're going to be our it person. Mm. Well, damn, I didn't ask for it, but okay, let's go. And while I'm there, I'm going to help as many people as I can. Well, does Cat have a right to say, well, I paid my dues and I went through the ranks and I did this and I did that? We all ended up in the same place. And before you answer, Tim, there's a story in the Bible that says there were men that were laboring in the vineyard and they came early in the morning. And so the person who owned the vineyard said, hey, I will gladly pay you a day's wage for a day's work. They said, cool. Middle of the afternoon, more men came to that vineyard and he told them, the owner said, I will gladly pay you a day's wage for a day's work. Cool. More people. He said, toward the end of the evening, last part of this scripture says, the evening people came and said, hey, do you have any work for us? Yes, I will gladly pay you a day's wage for a day's work. At the end of the day, when it came to tally, everybody got the same pay. And the thing is that the man said, I will pay you a day's wage for a day's work. So did it matter when you came in the morning? Did it matter when you came in the evening? We got the same amount of money. So that's what I'm saying, is that is someone to be shamed because they were blessed and the other one had to come up through the grind and work? You know what I'm saying? But I make smart decisions out of this blessing. So why am I being antagonized and saying, well, you didn't get it this way, you didn't get it that way?
It's not that someone's being shamed. I think it just pokes the hypocrisy of, again, everything I was talking about. So I'll debunk what you were just talking about. And I'll use the quote that you had on this show to where you said, if you were to work with someone in business and they were cheating on their wife, you wouldn't be able to trust them in business. So again, why is it any different now? Steve Harvey's cheated on 3 wives. The wife he's with now, he cheated on the last wife to be with. Kevin Hart's cheated on 2 wives. So why now do we still define success as money? Even though you're saying it's not okay to do what they're doing, they've done it multiple times, but we're still considering them successful because they made some money. We don't see that as a problem.
Well, I wasn't looking.
Again, we're trying to have it 2 ways, and this isn't nothing new. This is what we do in the church. It also says in the Bible, a man is not fit to lead as a pastor if he's been remarried even once. A lot of these pastors are on their 4th marriage, and people are still going to them every Sunday for a sermon that the very book they're teaching from says they're not even qualified to teach this lesson. So who do you think is right or wrong in this situation?
Well, okay. So you're
the person that conforms and just goes with it, or the person that speaks against it? Who do you think is right or wrong?
Well, you're bringing a personal character in it, and I only left it at the work ethic.
Well, Steve Harvey, we were talking about Steve Harvey and Kevin Hart. They both cheated on their wives multiple times. Are you aware of this?
I'm absolutely aware of it.
But why are we calling them successful? What are they successful at doing? Why are we calling this type of person successful?
So my question is, what does that have to do with the industry saying, hey, you're going to be our it person, and we're going to put a machine behind you?
Because the industry can only say they're going to be the it person. The people have to go watch their movies.
Exactly.
The people have to buy their tickets. The industry is not paying Kevin Hart. The industry makes money off Kevin Hart and gives him a salary off the money they made. That's why people have to go watch Medea. Medea's not watching itself. That's the problem. But people are complaining about it. Yes? No? People are complaining about men in dresses. Yes? No? So who's watching the movies? I'm confused. So why are we supporting the things we're trying to demonize and then turning around and saying, well, it's okay because they're successful because they made some money doing it?
Well, what I'm saying is, should we scrutinize their decision-making simply because they got a gift for us?
Yes, because we scrutinize everybody else's decision-making. We scrutinize Sexy Red. We scrutinize P. Diddy. We scrutinize R. Kelly. So why is Kevin Hart exempt? Why is Steve Harvey exempt?
So answer me this. If I just happen to win $1 million, somebody wants to bless me with $1 million, but I'm not living right, do I give the money back?
That's up to you. But what you have to know on a spiritual level is nothing's free. So you're going to pay for that $1 million one way or another. So that's what I'm saying. I don't take free money to begin with. But 2, your scenario is based on 2 people that value money. What if person B doesn't value money? Then your $1 million scenario means nothing to them. What if the person has a farm? So if they get $1 million, I don't need this money to feed my family. I can give it away. My family's already being fed by what I do. See, those are 2 different types of people. That's what we're talking about. But we're trying to make it seem like they're the same person, and they are not. Everyone does not value money.
Well,
most people don't value money.
Right. So I personally, and this would be my decision, if I am in a hut with you and I see you cheating on your wife, I would definitely remove myself. But I'm still not going to hate on your success moving forward. We
didn't say hate. We said remove yourselves. Who's removing themselves? Again, you talk about how successful they are. That means people are supporting them. Right. They don't get that way randomly. But that means people support them. Cheaters and wife beaters. Come on now. That's crazy.
Well, hold on, Tim. What I'm not disputing is if you have charisma. So you cheat on your wife. I'm going to remove myself, but what I'm not going to do is, pick apart your talent or whatever it is that you're doing in life. Hey, man, bro, if you know how to work this system, more power to you. Do it.
But what if your talent's bad? Again, people are only justifying the talent is good because it made them money. Do you realize people make money from reality TV? That's no talent. You get paid just to be yourself. So why are we trying to say these people are talented because they make money from what they do? That does not make you talented.
Especially from the people who ain't writing their own stuff. They just perform.
But that's the difference. This is the point, Kevin. This is the point Cat Williams are making.
Walli, you can't say Drake doesn't write his own stuff.
I didn't say that. I said especially if you're not. I'm saying in general, that could be a comedian, that could be a music entertainer, that could be a songwriter, it could be writing notes for music. I'm saying if you don't. So let's say if I had the skill of playing the violin and somebody else had the skill of writing music and I perform what they wrote we got equal talents. Like we both brought something to the table. But I can't make my own music. I'm as great as I am because somebody wrote the notes for me to perform on this violin. Now I got the skill to play the violin, but I have no skill in writing or making music or making the tones match up to be pleasing to everyone. Right. So again, I need that. I don't know where I was going with that. I was going somewhere. But
my thing that I'm saying is if you gotta take a shortcut to be successful, are you really successful? That's all I'm saying. Again, these things are self-validation. We're looking for other people to define who's successful. Dude, a lot of these celebrities don't feel successful. That's why they shucking and jiving and got to do every Allstate commercial they can. They are not successful. Them alimony checks is saying otherwise. That's what I'm saying. But it's easy for someone who's never been in a movie to say, oh, Kevin Hart. That's the problem. We're listening to people's opinion who've never done these things. So, yeah, they're going to pick their favorite. A lot of people's GOAT is just their favorite. See, that's not the same thing, though. If we're going to have a discussion, let's stay on topic. You know what I mean? So I can't consider you the best at what you do if you don't create your own material. I can't consider you the best at what you do if your material doesn't evolve over the years. I can't consider you the best you do if people aren't even saying around you that you're the best. Something's up.
Absolutely. And this is what I say for a millionaire. And I've known both. I've known a lottery millionaire to squander his spoils, and I know a lottery millionaire to actually make good on his earnings. So and this is actual fact and true. So what I'm saying is that as far as Kevin, we see his work ethic. But what I do agree with Kat is when you sign that deal to the devil, when you do, well, here's why I agree with Kat. When you assign yourself over to being this industry, what I don't want to use that
plan, the industry plan. He said it perfectly.
So when you sign yourself over, they can utilize you for, a bunch of other reasons. And when they're done with you, they can Martin Lawrence you. They can, they can get you up. Or what's the hero guy that been on all the comics and the guy with the white girl?
Oh, yeah. That was running.
Yeah.
I don't remember the dude's name, but I know you're talking about.
Exactly. So these things can type of happen when you sign, when there's no integrity to your work. You can sit back and say, I own this. Nobody controls me. So this is why I like the slow burns like the Country Waynes. I do. I mean, but what I'm not going to hate on somebody who said, okay, I signed this deal with the devil and I'm going to use it to help as many people and more people to sign this deal with the devil than you know. But
this was the whole point of the Cat Williams interview, because he literally said, watch people call me a hater when I'm just responding to what was said to me. It's not hate for responding to somebody that comes for you. But also on a spiritual level, you don't have to respond. There's no pressure or obligation to respond to people. That's your prerogative. I'm sure there's a lot of people that said a lot of things comedians don't respond to. My point is what did Cat say that was wrong? And especially after you see how everyone moved after he said what he said, and he doubled down on what he said on another show. Why is there even a group of people that think he did something wrong?
Well, it goes back to what you said earlier in the program, Tim. It's like, man, I let my book speak for themselves. I let my art speak for themselves. Let Kevin do what he do. You do what you do, and let it speak for yourself.
But Cat Williams did do what he do. He said that on the interview too. He said, "My job is to be funny. Why y'all be so shocked when I tell jokes? My job is to be funny." So I totally chose to be funny, and y'all call it everything else but what it is. It's him being. Is this not his job? Is he not one of the best at what he does?
Absolutely.
But again, I don't understand how people are trying to find something wrong with what he did. Because if you put anyone up, if you would have switched the roles and Kevin Hart would have did that, a lot more people would have been on board with it. That's my point.
I've seen this play out.
That's my point.
And I've seen it play out on the school bus. The dustiest dude will walk up to the cleanest dude and start busting on him. Yeah. And the dusty dude will win the snapping competition because he just simply said, I'm built for this. You know what I'm saying? You're relying on your clothes and your money and your parents spoiling you and stuff like that. I'm built to crack. So basically, I'm going to bust you down the sides, because you could talk about anything dusty that I have on, but because I know how to deliver it, I know how to deliver a punchline, I'm still going to win the school bus crowd over me. I totally get all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that fresh to death kid is going to say, "Oh, you hating?" That's an automatic thing. Like,
right.
bro,
But that means you lost. Again, that's why we got to look within self how we react to things. If you coming at, "Oh, you hating on me," you lost. It's clear to say that. You didn't
we got
win.
some comments I want to touch on before we bring our guests in.
Sure.
Yaya says we should find out here soon if we all need social media. Just talking about how in the news they were just talking about the internet and other things crashing at some point. And
AI
then
been going crazy too.
yeah, and then DL Carey said if the sole purpose is to just entertain, then why would the artist take offense to being classified in a certain way?
Thank you. That to me is the Cat Williams argument. That is the whole argument. I've never seen Kevin Hart say he was the funniest comedian ever. So why are people trying to make an argument these people aren't even trying to make? That is hate. That is hating on Cat Williams because they're saying it just to spite Cat. That is hate.
What was funny is that Aries Spears and Faison have been saying the same thing too, but based on their economic position, now they've actually ruined their careers.
Well, Faison's a hater. I can't side with Faison, but Aries, yeah.
Faison's a
hater. And Country Wayne just came out and spoke on what Faison was doing. He got too many people saying the same story. Like I can't give him no more passes.
And Aries Spears is a hater too.
But he has that energy in his shows. Like he has that, and I want us to understand something about entertainers. I've always felt this way because I used to. I mean, before I started taking control of my words, I used to always say Taraji plays the same role in every movie. It's almost like she's just herself. Like, she can really conjure up that attitude, the snappiness. It's almost like this is who I am in real life. Doesn't seem like I don't know her in real life. But I know as I was watching the films that she was starring in, all of the characters seem to be the same type. Okay, so I see we have our guest in here. Let me give her an introduction. Good morning to you, Miss Day. Miss Day is the owner of Shalom's Awakening Touch. She's a massage therapist. She also is a targeted cryotherapy technician. Her office is here in Columbus, Ohio. Off of Brighton Road, and she is a native from Atlanta, and she is now here in Ohio. So we welcome and thank you.
Peace.
Yo,
how are you today?
I'm great. Feeling this good energy, you feel me? And this
man, it's amazing. We met over my birth work a couple years ago, and I've lately been able to take advantages of some of her services. And when I tell y'all, sis is the bomb when it comes to healing the body through her sessions. She's not just a massage therapist, right? She got some powerful healing hands, and also this cryotherapy. So I would love for you to just share something with the people about what it is you do and who you are and how we can become not only clients but be aware of this healing process when it comes to laying hands on the body.
Sure. Yeah.
So as you know, energy is definitely coming to the forefront of topics and trending, I guess I would say, but is more than just a trend, and people don't even understand what they're putting out into the universe, which can be helpful if they have good intentions, but so the biggest part for me is like bringing awareness around the topic of like how energy can help with mental health and stability, especially in our community. Think a lot of us think that massage is more so a luxury type, and that's what that's just personally what I've been seeing as I work with our people. So bringing that to the forefront that like this is a necessity.
Yes.
Because you hold so much trauma in your muscles, in the fascia, in the energetic body, and just being able to assist. I do not heal per se. I assist
Oh, sure.
your own healing because it's all up to you. And yeah, that's the overall gist of um, what I am trying to like put out there. As for the targeted cryotherapy,
Yes, I was going to ask you about that.
yeah, so it uses very cold temperatures to help with pain management. It can do, some fat cell reduction. And then it also helps with decreasing inflammation. It can help with skin issues. So pretty much it goes in and kills whatever is not supposed to be there. So as the body temperature drops to a temperature that is not supposed to be, it's going to like you have apoptosis, which is fat killing fat cells, or you could have scar tissue that needs to be killed, and that gets pushed out through the lymphatic system, which is how that works.
Right. And so I was going to ask you about that because I know a lot of people are getting into the cold plunges. Like I see videos or people are taking the ice baths. I learned about that when we
I
moved to
love
Florida.
ice baths.
Right. My son had, after track practice or football practice, it was a part of their thing. And I was like, I ain't never seen this in Ohio. And it was like, no, this is state of art stuff. They had all these silver tubs and they were getting in there. And I pulled up a list of these benefits. If I can read them and then you can continue. But the cold plunges benefits immune support, reduces inflammation, like you said, stress relief, helps with better sleep, energy, soreness recovery, circulation, increased metabolism, pain relief, faster recovery. I'm sorry, it's like 10 more. Relieving depression, weight loss, elevate your mood, boost your mood, dopamine spike, build resilience, and endorphin boost.
Right. So you get those, like, the body essentially goes into kind of a shock. So you get those release of hormones, and that's where all of those benefits are coming from. So
that's what's up.
Right.
Because they said it was similar to like people who get like do crack or something. Like the crack high will last you about 10 or 15 minutes, but the cold plunge will last like 2.5 hours. Like, but it's the same feeling as, I mean, I ain't never done crack before, and I really ain't never done a cold plunge. So, I'm talking about what I seen on the thing. Let me clarify. I ain't Whitney said it.
Clean it up.
Whack. Okay.
You better know.
Right. Let me tell you what they said. They said that crack will
what I heard.
Right. This is what I heard through the grapevine. 10 or 15 minutes of a natural high, or not high, a crack high. And then, but the cold plunge does the same thing, but it's like 2.5 hours longer. Can you explain to us what people are feeling or what goes on with those feelings?
Yeah. So it's definitely endorphins. Just like if you were to run a marathon or something like that, your body goes into shock essentially. And it's a better flight or fight mode essentially. But I think if you utilize it in the right way, it can help with mental clarity. So with the brain fog, of course, you get in that like rush of fresh blood coming into all the muscles, because as soon as that cold hits, the blood is going to go into the body. You know what I'm saying? So it's because it's going to want to keep those organs warm,
Yeah.
So the blood is going to go into the body instead of being on the surface. And then once the blood rushes back out, you're getting fresh blood in places that may have stagnant, and we know that blood carries energy also. Plasma. Anyway.
Wait. You could. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tim.
I was gonna say for me, because I did ice baths in college a lot, but yeah, it's a lifesaver. But for me, I would say it's the same sensation of like yoga. You know how you get into that intrinsic stretch and you just forget to breathe. Like that's the ice bath. Like you gotta tell yourself, remind, like, okay, breathe, calm down, because your heart start racing. Like you start panicking. You know what I mean? But you can feel yourself calming down, and it's like a soothing. It's almost like being swaddled to sleep. Like it's hard to explain,
Wait,
but
the ice
it
bath
works.
is like being swaddled to sleep.
Yeah, it works. I used to be in there for longer than I probably should, but I needed it. You know what I mean? Because when I was younger, I had scoliosis. I had things already that was ailments. You feel me? So when I did that, like she was saying, and we was talking about this yesterday, Walisha, a lot of people don't know your body is replacing itself. So up to a year, you have a whole new body. Your organs is replacing itself, your skin and your blood. This is why like fasting and like she said, massaging is so important. And I think a lot of times that trauma comes from, perfectly said, we treat it like a necessity. We use it when we got enough money or when we feel good or when a coupon and came in the mail, you dig? But this should be a lifestyle.
Right. And not necessarily luxury. So someone in the comments said, how often should they be doing the ice plunges or even cryotherapy, and for how long?
So targeted cryotherapy is a little different because it's not a full body. It's more so depending on if you're having pain, if you are looking to body sculpt, um, or if you just have like certain inflammation that you need to get out of the body, or you're trying to like speed up a recovery, it will be like targeted to that area. But if you are looking for the mental clarity portion, I would definitely suggest doing the back, because of course we know our energy rises up our spine, and so being able to release the muscles, that the paraspinals that come run along the spine, it will, give you those benefits for that.
Let me interject real quick, Dave. This show is brought to you by WUDG. This is the underground station here at the Ohio Media School. This program is still going to keep going. At 10:45, I'm going to bow out because I got to go to work. But the good news about StreamYard is that the program can still keep going, and I'm going to let Wiley and Goodlife end the show today. But I just want to let people know that. But I wanted to get my question in before my time is up. How did you come into this life's work, Day? What introduced you to this field?
Well, I was in college, graduating with my rehabilitation sciences degree, and thought I wanted to be a physical therapist, and I soon found that that was not my calling. And so I had to do some soul searching, cried 40 days, 40 nights, whatever. Moved to China, and I ended up meeting a lady who was really just teaching me about, meditation, things like that, working with the body, Eastern medicine, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And when COVID happened, I had to come home. I thought I was going back, but I did not. And when I got here, I lost my job because they closed the country, so I couldn't get back in. So when that happened, I had to like reevaluate what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, everything in my life has lined up for me to go into this.
Mashallah.
Yes. I didn't even know what this lady was teaching me all of this for. Random Chinese lady, like. So when I got back, I ended up getting my license for massage therapy. And as I began to like work with people's bodies, I've always had healing hands, so I've been told. But as I began to work with people's bodies, I started seeing, different, whether it was releases, like emotional releases, working with them. So being angry, like all of a sudden, or just laughing uncontrollably, crying. It's intense sometimes, but I had to like go intuitively and be like, okay, well, what's happening here? So that's how I ended up getting into like the energy work portion of it, because of course, utilizing some of the things, the techniques she taught me, with breath work, all of it, all of it really intertwines. But releasing those the traumatic points, the trigger points, all it can be life changing to some people because sometimes we bury things that we don't want to remember. And
Mm-hmm.
so once we release all of this tension in the body, it comes up.
Mm.
And so they are more likely to face it head on because it's staring them in the face now.
Mm.
I love
And
that.
I love, that you gave the examples and what you brought up about what you do. Because I tell people sometimes you just have to be aware and intentional in what you're doing. For
Mm-hmm.
me, and there's a difference because I consider myself a healer too. I'm a therapist, and I've done CBT and I do Reiki now, like meditation and stuff. So I feel like in the beginning we're superstitious. Magic's happening around us, but we don't really believe in it. We don't really tell people. I just seen my auntie that's been gone for a while. You feel me? So we're superstitious. So in the beginning, I was learning things like ice baths would help me get over the fear. Because there's a fear with these things. There's a fear we're going to get a massage from somebody you don't know. There's a fear jumping in a bucket of ice. You know what I mean? So I was using those things to overcome my fears and show myself, okay, these things aren't that intimidating. You know what I mean? Because at first, yoga is very intimidating. Meditation is very intimidating. And a lot of times we can use these things just to better ourselves as a person, not even a better spiritualist or a better healer. You know what I mean? I could just relate to my sisters more because I've experienced this or because I took that chance. And it may not be something I'm going to do forever, but I could tell my kids, I got in a bath of ice once, and these things are exciting. They're fun. They're icebreakers. You know what I mean? No pun intended. But it's ways we can start looking at the magic we do and I would say use it together. I think a lot of times magic is intimidating for people because you get to watch someone else practice. And it's not like they can wave a wand and all our knees feel better. Their knees feel better. You feel me? So what me and Walisha is doing is trying to show people these can be fun games, fun activities. It could be things we do with the community. It doesn't always have to be serious. We don't always have to be trying to fit into a dress or into pants. These things can start being on a fundamental level school. And I love what you do because we're all different teachers in the school. Some teach science, some teach math, some do the food, you dig? But I think we're all creating a school. You know what I mean? And I just want to say it's amazing what you do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I love different artists, but healers got my heart. They're my people. You dig? Because we put up with more than people realize we put up with, you know? So that's something I always want to get your insight about being a healing worker. How do you deal with your tough days, your unfavorable days, the days where you like, yeah, I'm not getting out of bed today? What's your thought process and what are your actions?
Well, number one, I get up anyway.
I say, here
There it
it
is.
is.
But that's the first step.
Okay.
But honestly, we all have our days. But being a, energy worker or an energy facilitator and a healer, you have to leave all of your baggage outside,
Yes.
you know? And sometimes when you're done, you ain't even got to pick it up. Keep
That
going,
part.
There you
So,
go.
because it's like sometimes, I don't think people realize, you have a brand new day. You just came back into your consciousness, brand new day, and you're going to step out of your laying space and pick up everything that you took off and started to heal from. Because as we sleep, we're healing,
Yeah.
Regenerating.
when you're sick, you want to sleep all the time because your body needs that rest to heal. So you're
Yeah.
gonna, start this healing process and then rise up and pick it all back up and put it back. Oh, let me put this back on. Like, why am I even carrying this? Ain't even mine, you know? So like being intentional on watching thoughts. So me and my friend did a 31-day positive thinking challenge, right? And honestly, I heard y'all talking about mindset earlier. that is a mindset changer. Being able to think only positive thoughts for 31 days can change your life.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Because it changes what you're attracted to. You get what I'm saying? So,
Absolutely.
right. So,
And even if you're doing it as a game too, like, you know, you initially start to become that. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Because
And then,
what is it, 21 days to make a habit? Or
right.
15?
And then you're going to see like the bad thoughts. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be like, dang, that's what I think about myself. Maybe
That's crazy,
I gotta
right?
change that. That ain't right. But yeah, so being intentional about, making sure that my thoughts are my thoughts, because the energy get the flowing in here, and it just,
Yeah. You know,
do
I
it.
used to write something down on my hand. When I did that, I wrote it down for the day. Whatever I was supposed to focus on, I wrote it down. But I thought that was like I was real holy then. Like I wasn't trying to be cleansing
You
my
was
body spiritually more
superstitious.
so. Think you
Right.
say what?
You was superstitious. You ain't know your power yet.
Exactly. I didn't know that was like really cultivating me. But yeah, that's dope. So 31 days.
Yes. So that was just like ensuring that, my thoughts are mine, and that I'm having positive thoughts, because, you create your reality. In the first place is your imagination.
Say
Imagination
that.
Yeah,
is a powerful thing.
there it is.
So yeah. And then on top of that, day to day, when I get in the shower, I make sure like I let everything that has been around me or is on me wash down the drain. I do my spiritual baths. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
And I really want us to get like comfortable with doing these things, because for me I was more comfortable when I was in the church doing it, because it felt like I had a path to. When you don't have that umbrella and you're trying to wake up the whole world to be more spiritual and be more in tune with themselves and their environment, it looks kind of silly. But I would consider even writing down a message. Now I have a whole system to be like, don't think like that.
Yeah.
Or I call one of y'all, because y'all my people. I call one of y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all plenty of time have talked me off the ledge and helped me reset my thought process. Because again, we're here to grow. We wasn't born to stay infants, right? We didn't become teenagers not to become adults. Like we are growing into elders. We're growing into this space where the people that's coming up behind us are going to need to be able to see our movements out loud and not in secret. And
Yeah.
the way we do that is we do some self-cleansing and self-inventory and understanding, like, if you make room for, I remember one time a pastor said he was at City Center Mall. Y'all remember City Center had like the 3 levels.
City Center was lit.
Right. He was at City Center Mall. This was before your time to Ohio. But it was the inside mall downtown, and it had like 3 levels, and as you walked around, you could see down to the center where it was like this big elevator and seating area. But anyway, the pastor said one time he was there with his children, and the thought came, oh, just throw her over the thing. And
An
he was giving,
intrusive thought.
right, he was giving a sermon. He was giving his sermon about our thoughts and how stuff can creep in. And he said, I knew I wasn't supposed to do that, but the thought came in. It was so inviting. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, well, dang, what was you thinking about to have yourself so open for? And not saying we don't get crazy thoughts, right? Because that's the part of the world we can't see when it comes to frequency and energy, like how certain things you can't see that's passing you by and people touching you and that and the other. But I remember thinking, like, what you got going on in your personal life that you opening up the door to have that thought? But he talked about how quickly he was to speak over it and
and we ask for that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? We spoke on this last week. A lot of times people are talking and they don't realize what they're saying. And the analogy I always use, especially I use with my kids to get it, is like I tell them, like, think about Rumpelstiltskin. You don't really know what you're asking for. And he gonna tell you that too while you asking, like, be certain, be particular, because you might not like what you get, but you asking for something. And we do that all the time. We'll say, I can do anything. Nothing's gonna stop me, nothing gonna break me. We're asking for a challenge. That sound like fighting words. That sound like the universe. Like, all right, you want to be tested? All right.
Right. Like the pastor had all these people, and this was years ago, had everybody saying that they were, to say that they wanted the Job spirit, and I was like, I don't want to lose my family. I don't want that. Like, it's got to be a better way. If I don't want that lesson.
I like it better as a story. I don't want it in my real life.
Not on me. What? I keep repeating that, but it's, again, we get into these, what we think we're supposed to be humble. We get into these situations and we allow these elevated leaders to control our mind. Like we buy into this so much. And not to speak down on any religion, but I'm talking about leaders in general, how they give us this idea. And because we think so low of ourselves, we take whatever they're telling us to do, and we do it like to a T, because we want to be right in somebody's army. We want like to enter in somebody's gates. We want to be approved by somebody in the afterlife. We want all of these things. So whatever you tell me to do now, I'm going to do it, even if it don't make no sense. You know? Say again? Without discernment, just doing it. Yep. That part, which also creates the space for intrusive thoughts, because you ain't discerning nothing. You just letting everything, okay, if it sounds good and they got a little sprinkle of holy water on there, I guess it's for me. But you got to check that, because what's for one person may not be for you. And even if that's a good thing for them, like the ice baths, obviously some people, everybody can't do those, or the cryotherapy, or massage therapy. So you gotta, we're giving y'all tools. We opening up the door because our mental health is attached to so many things outside of our individual, like our regular makeup. And so as we are incorporating and opening up the door to all these other things, we're letting you know how you can heal yourself, how you can heal your family. You know, generational curses is huge, and it starts with us. Like, we're the ones that's showing up for this show. We're the ones that's asking questions when it comes to our health and our mental awareness. So these things were created for us. So we just really want to put y'all in front of it. Let y'all know that there's many ways to heal the mind. There's many, like she said, she did 31 days of positive thinking. I mean, imagine having a family and y'all checking each other's thoughts, y'all helping each other be accountable. Now, let me ask you something before we go. Like, how did that work? How did y'all keep each other accountable to that? Or was it an individual thing?
Well, it was an individual thing, but also, you know, throughout the day, it's like, are you being positive? Like, you know what I'm saying? But then again, you know, sometimes you and your friends can have that connection where, what you got going on? And they be like, dang, like, don't be calling me out like that.
Right.
You know? But it gives you that, you know, oh, I do have to be intentional. I got to remember to be intentional, because it's hard at first. You know what I'm saying? You just going today, and let me tell you something. At first, when you speak something, the universe is going to test you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, you want to be positive? Let's see what you're going to do with that.
Bam.
You know?
Which I feel like is fairness. It has to be that way, because how can you say you really believe something if it can't be tested? Mm-hmm. You don't really believe. You want to believe. It would be nice to believe, but you don't, because that test is the acceptance. Right. It's the right, you know what I mean, to admission. And everything we've been saying is on point. That's what lets people know, like, all of these things are layered topics. A lot of times I tell people in therapy and mental health, like, the issues you are experiencing are a side effect of some other shit you don't do, or somewhere where you lack boundaries. Yep. You dig what I'm saying? So people aren't choosing not to have discernment, but if you don't have accountability, you're not going to have this. You don't understand what discernment is if you lack accountability. So a lot of these things we experience are that side effect. That's why I love that you're saying, you know, these things aren't a vacation. These should be your lifestyle, because then in the in-between time, it's going to help you. It's no different than how mantras work for me. I only use mantras in case I get lost or off track. It reminds me where center is. It reminds me, you feel me, what path I should be taking. So I do those things all the time, because you stay ready. You don't got to get ready. You dig? You already got it on you. You're ready for whatever. And we got to start tackling life like that. This is what spirituality promotes. This is what healing promotes. This is why it separates from a lot of medicine. And people's consensus now with medicine is they're trying to find that one pill so they'll never have to take a pill again. Right. And spirituality tells you this is a lifestyle. You'll never be healed. You're going to be healing the rest of your natural life.
Right. And like you said,
there's no one cure for all. You're always working. You dig? So you better learn to love this work.
Right. And you was mentioning to me yesterday in our conference call that I forget who you said you was listening to Tim. You said but he talked about how it takes a year for you to, we basically are regenerating a whole new body. And
Oh yeah, Dr. Kamara, he's a nutritionalist, neuroscience. He do everything. He wise beyond his years. But yeah,
can you
that
explain to them?
regeneration. Yeah, so the regeneration process, as we go throughout the year, our organs are replacing themselves. You know what I mean? Our body is designed to heal itself. That's what makes us probably more alien than whatever we think human is. You dig?
Exactly.
that ain't normal. So
Right,
the fact that that's happening is, again, it's a reaction. So everything you see on the out of your body is because of what's happening on the inside. So all these things are a natural reaction. This is how we start to learn the layers of how we're disrupting that process. When we eat too late, when our body's trying to digest food too late, you dig? When we eat too early, like all of these things offset something inside of us. And the worst way is if we can't see nothing outward. Is if your face ain't bump up and you ain't changed nothing. That's the worst. Because it's, you know what I mean? It's really working against you.
Exactly.
But the whole time our body is trying to fight everything foreign, and people don't realize our body already has things inside. We have germs inside of us. Like me and Walisha was saying, we already have cancer cells inside of us, but they're being mutated and activated by what we're eating. You dig? And we talk about on the show all the time, your diet is not just food. It's what you watch. It's what you entertain. It's what you pay attention to. It's what you allow. It's how you talk to yourself. You dig? So these are the cures. The only real medicine to me is preventative medicine. Is you doing the work before you get sick. You know what I mean? And then accepting sometimes you're still going to get a little cold. But even in Africa, they get colds. They just know, okay, I got to take this ginger root. I got to take this woo-de-woo. I'm starting to see the symptoms. Let me get ahead of this.
Exactly.
And some of us do it in America, but a lot of us are lackluster with that. You dig? We got to go see a doctor to realize, damn, I got to switch up my diet. You feel me? Like,
you waiting on them to tell you how you've been living your life ain't working for you. Like, why do you need him? And then because they're not going to tell you.
It's that delusion again that there's one cure for all because they don't want to do the work. The work is hard. Shadow work is not fun.
Oh my goodness, no, it's not.
Having to set boundaries on your immediate family is not fun.
No.
You know what I mean? But it sets you free. It actually lessens the work you'll have to do overall. Because we all know as adults, when you backtrack, you create more work ahead. Yeah. But when you just, get your hard hit, break your shirt sweaty, you did everything you can do. You know what I mean? It's going to be an easier road moving forward. It's still going to be difficult because, again, like we said, anything you want to adopt and believe will be immediately tested. Okay, I'm going to raise my kids this way. Universe like, bet. Let's see. Let's see after this. Boom, press button. You dig? So what I started to do was reverse engineer. I started to realize the only thing that was holding me back was fear. It was the intimidation. It was thinking I wasn't good enough. It was thinking, God damn, this recipe is too complex. Like, I can't make lasagna. Until you make your first lasagna and it's good. And then that creates this confidence in you. You like, I could do anything. You know what I mean? So this is duality. This is why I tell people there's no good or bad. Everything has good or bad in it. Everything has two sides. So when you start that I can do anything, when you get close to a ledge, you like, fuck it, let's jump off. Like, maybe we can fly. Maybe nothing bad is going to happen. Nothing bad happens to me. You know what I mean? And a lot of us have those kind of egos. We do it in relationships. We do it in our craft. And we become lackluster. So I reverse engineer. I came up with principles like, okay, for me, I don't really hate anything or anyone, but I hate mediocrity. I hate normal stuff. Or just like, that was normal. I'm like, let me do something else. I don't want to be normal. I want to be weird. You feel me?
Exactly.
So it's doing things that both we're capable of doing. We feel confident enough to doing, but it's not all of this emotional recoil and damage on the back end. Because, again, a lot of what we're hurting is the back end hurt. It's a response to something that happened or didn't happen. So by you telling people, you should be getting massages regularly, you're already sparking something in their brain. It's already something in their brain wiggling, trying to connect to other brains. You feel me? So it's like, all right, this may be good for us. So this is why we're doing this show. This is why we're coming together as three, because they may now need to be passed off to Walisha. Maybe that disconnection is because of something food related. Maybe that disconnection is, they grew up with their grandparents. That's hard because your grandparents are going to pass at some point. So it's hard being raised by them because like their time is ticking. You feel me? So maybe they need to be passed to me to reconcile with that. But I can guarantee with people, it's not one issue. It is a variety of things you're not addressing or that you're allowing. You feel me?
Right.
We had these conversations on this show, not to sound smart, to show people we do the work. I do the work every day. I don't
Right.
give myself a choice not to do the work. You feel me? Because I looked in the mirror and I was honest. I didn't like what I seen in the mirror, the version of myself when I was being my lowest frequency. And then it's confusing because you have all these friends and things, and you're like, am I doing it right? Hold up. But when you're really being honest, you're like, nah, this don't feel good.
They start poofing out of your life. You like, wait a
minute. Yeah, they start dropping like flies. And that's because they trying to be the gnats at your barbecue, and you gotta just keep eating them ribs. Even if they vegan ribs, you just gotta keep eating your ribs. You gotta be like Safari, just ignore all that and just be at your plate, you dig? And there's so many lessons through that. You feel me? Me and Wally talk about on the show. I talk about how now I had to learn, even though there was friends and family around, I wanted to see them eat. I didn't have to fix their plate no more. You dig? I could teach you how to make the greens. I need to sit and eat at some point because I never did. I was always trying to heal and rush and work and grow and overcome and conquer. Because that's what they told me when I was a kid. Young man, you're a conqueror. So I try to conquer women. I try to conquer money. I try to conquer love and healing and health. And those things don't want to be conquered. You feel me? They want free will. They want to exist. And they want you to appreciate them. The flower wants you to just pull up and smell it and go about your day. It doesn't want to be plucked out the ground. I didn't ask for that. You decided that was what's best for it. And that taught me about humans. We got a lot of messed up ideologies we force on everybody else. You dig? So everything we do as a lifestyle is healing. Like, I have to do these things. I have to meditate, or I'm gonna be in jail.
Right.
I gotta calm myself down, or I'm gonna raise some angry children. I have to do this
right.
work,
and we what I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave. You was gonna say something?
Yeah, because monologue over. Y'all feel it. I feel good this morning.
No, I was just gonna say that I'm thankful that we're understanding that these things are more essential, because if it's not you doing yoga or meditation, let's say you deal with it in your own way, you're getting frustrated because that's what we do, or you're feeling the way you feel, you could be eternalizing and doing things and damage on the inside. Like he said, if you don't have a pimple, or you don't have something like after been eating crazy, or you don't have no reaction, you ain't gaining no weight, something is going on internally with the organs or the muscles or the blood. Again, we're all connected. So everything we do, if I think a thought and I harbor it and say, oh, I ain't gonna give it no energy, I ain't gonna think on it, but oh no, I need to speak against it completely to get it out my system. Because if I say, oh, I ain't gonna give it no energy, I'm still storing it until I'm ready to give it energy, right? Yeah. You got to actually act on these things. Like, we got to become real in tune and real actors of taking care of what we don't see on the inside of our body, because the body is doing what the body knows to do, but it needs the right substance. And that's what our thoughts, that's with the nutrition, that's with relationships, that's with connection with people, and just how we overall treat ourselves and the next person. So all of these things that we're teaching and we're bringing to the show every Friday are definitely essential. These are things that is going to literally, y'all talk about, y'all really want to break generational curses, or you really want to level up in your own personal walk, you got to do the work, yo. And these are, every week we're bringing y'all different tips on how, like, we bringing y'all this because every single day we deal with something. I deal with at some point in the day, I got to check myself and be like, you know, it's always, even if it's a tiny challenge, it's still a challenge. Yeah. And I'm still thankful nonetheless. Like, ooh, I'm glad I ain't got to do. But then, hey, I know something else is coming around the corner, because you're never going to, like Tim said last week, you're never going to reach the top of that mountain. Once you get to the top of what you could see, it is another mountain that is higher for you to climb and you to work and grow. Baby. Why? Because we, as Tim said, we as alien as a humanly possible. Yeah. That's why it will be infinity mountains for us to climb if we choose to.
Gotcha. Just like we about to keep this show going, because this is a great vibe, great content. This is my shit. So we gonna keep the show going. We not ending this. And I want to connect. We're gonna bring you back in, Day, because I want to make a connection to the habits we build as children. So tell us about your childhood. Tell us, little Day, young Day. What was she like? what was she up to?
Honestly, I'm a wise soul. I always been wise. But I mean, Lil Day definitely has some anger issues. And that is actually how I started meditating. I didn't know I was meditating, but I would go sit in my closet and just breathe.
Yeah.
You know? And after a while, I really didn't know what I was doing, but after a while, you start getting downloads, you know what I'm saying? You start learning things about yourself. So I definitely became less emotional about things, and I stopped giving people my power. You know what I'm saying? To be able to make me angry and to make me go off. Like, I never step out of my character.
Yeah, I need you to expound on that when you say you never.
99.9% of the time, I do not step out of my character. Like as of who I am. You know what I'm saying? So
Because
yeah,
people that can be misconstrued with people. Your character might be slapping them. You feel me? So stepping out of your character is not, you ain't slapped nobody today.
right.
You decide your boundaries.
Right. But I definitely had a bit of a traumatic, childhood. But I always protected, divinely protected always. And yeah, just coming out of that wise. And I'm not saying I'm fully healed. Far from it. You know what I'm saying? But being able to, just sit and breathe with myself, because I'm popular loner. You know what I'm saying?
You got siblings?
I do. I have two older siblings from my mom anyway.
What was y'all's relationship like? If you don't mind opening up with us this fine Friday morning.
Oh, he fixing to put me in therapy.
Little therapy. Oh, we in it. Okay,
so me and my sister's relationship when I was younger was very abusive.
Okay.
I'm the youngest.
Okay, me too. Shout out to the youngest out there.
Hey, me too. Let's get it.
Hey.
Yeah, so I just recently, maybe like 6 or 7 years ago, had like the kumbaya meeting with her. Like,
that's beautiful.
We were able to, like, kind of
settle y'all's differences
and heal from our, trauma, because shoot, she was going through the same trauma I was going through, you know what I'm saying? So, hurt people. I just handle it different,
Yeah.
And she's a warrior at heart. So that's just how she gonna handle stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then my brother, he was my safeguard, but he was a little bit older than me. So when he went off to college, it was like abandonment,
Well, see, can I ask you something? Because I hear people in that type of dynamic. And from your perspective, was he more like a father, uncle, or like a brother, cousin? And what's the age difference between y'all?
So he's 10 years older than me.
Okay.
But he was also very tall. So when we would go out, he was my dad. Like, at the end of the aisle and be like, "Mom!" Like, so everybody, that was his mama.
I love that. That's funny.
I love it.
But yeah, he was definitely my protector. Like, my mom was working with 3 kids. You know what I'm saying? So she worked hard. And then, of course, those generational curses come into play. Just all types of trauma from her childhood came into play. So, I mean, honestly, I feel like at this moment, there is a healing component that's happening. Just due to the vibration of the earth is going up, and people gonna have to move. And if you don't move, then you gonna get ran over.
You gonna get ran over.
Yeah.
So
hope you got insurance.
For real.
But I love that component because it's something I always point out to people. Because the people who are middle and older siblings are always just like, why the youngest like that? You know what I mean? And they don't understand everything's happening to us at the same time. Y'all got to gradually learn these things. We just got handed a notebook like, here, here's childhood. And we're like, oh, okay. And trying to find ourselves in the lines like, all right, well, you feel me? So for me, being the youngest is powerful And usually spiritually you are like the black sheep, but also you're usually like the messiah of the family. You're the one who shows them, you give them perspective. You show them how to do things a different way.
Right.
And where we can't control people is we got to allow them to make a choice. So I can only offer my way as if this is what I would do. But I can't give somebody advice like this is what you should do. I don't know what you should do. You feel me? I don't got all the facts.
Exactly.
But where they seen a different side of me is I always try to love them anyway, even when times was hard. Because family's everything to me. I'm a person of principle, you know what I mean, and value. So family is at the top. And what a lot of people are expecting is this fairy tale family. And like you said, my sister was going through something too. I didn't realize that till I was older. Like they was hurting just like I was hurting.
Exactly.
And I never had gave them credit for that when I was upset. I was just like, why is this happening to me? Why are y'all not spoiling me? This is not how the youngest works. You know what I mean? But this is how the universe needed it to work for us, because it needed us to be right here having this conversation with us three.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this is family to me. You know, you dig? Like, this is family. Just like you said, going in the closet was meditating. I tell people that all the time. I meditate when I drive. I meditate listening to music. I meditate in the shower. I meditate when I stretch. I'm always meditating.
And most people are. They just don't realize it because it's not a positive
superstitious
context.
I would like to clarify that though, like, because I get a lot, like a lot of clients be like, well, I just can't sit still and be quiet. And I'm like, all right, you ain't gotta attack me. Look, I'm here for you. You know what I'm saying?
Don't bite. I'm friendly.
I'm trying to help you. But like I like to explain a little bit about meditation, because meditation, you can do that with anything that will give you a peace of mind, that calms the mind. You get what I'm saying? So yes, we can go into, you know, the style of meditation where you are able to clear your mind, but that's going to take practice, you know, especially if you think you're fixing to clear your mind and not go to sleep. If you're not in practice, that's not happening. You know, so your body like, ooh, no overstimulation. We can go to sleep, like, because we're so overly stimulated. But the main piece of what I, you know, say about meditation is it's about being more aware of self, coming into the body. So, you know, it's just like you getting to your car and you're driving and you hit something. Well, you hit something because you weren't aware of the, you know, your proprioception. You weren't aware of how far away you were from this thing. You know what I'm saying? Because you did essentially like merge with the car to feel like how far away you were.
Right.
That's the same thing with the body. That's why you run into stuff and you clumsy, because you're not inside your body. You're not and being aware of how your body is moving. You know, you knocking your elbow, you doing all stuff, you got too much stuff going on. So like being able to just watch your thoughts with no judgment is how I, you know, recommend people start their meditation.
We call that aware of awareness, people. There's awareness, and then you can be aware that you're aware of things. Yeah. So these are the things we're teaching people. You know, I found out I was autistic in unfavorable ways when I was younger, but that propelled me into psychology. And the more I do it and the more I understand it, I decided like people wasn't ready for everything just yet. You feel me? Just like we talk about astral projection sometimes, which essentially is, you know, that concept. And this is what I do entering conversations. Like, you got to be able to be the speaker, the listening, and the third party that's witnessing y'all's conversation. Being everybody's point of view, perspective, know how they feel about what's being said, know where this is geared and targeted to, and potentially where this could go. It could be an argument, a debate, an agreement, an unagreement. You know what I mean? The possibilities are endless. So when we enter these type of agreements with people, we got to realize, like you say, you put it beautifully, like we have to have that relationship with ourselves first. We're just a reflection of who we are and what we think and what we believe. That's all we do. That's all we say. You feel me? It's not nothing special. But so when we become more mindful of that, we'll only speak what's special. We'll only communicate when necessary. Because all communication ain't verbal. You know what I mean? Most of it is nonverbal. So when you start to meditate and be with yourself, you'll start communicating and being direct with people in ways you didn't even realize. You know what I mean? And yes, just to get the gifts up front, that shit's scary. It's going to scare you to life. It's going to make you feel uncomfortable. It's going to make you feel naked. It's going to make you feel like you're in a forest, but there's no trees. You have nowhere to hide. You're just exposed. So you can run in any direction and they see you. You know what I mean? So for me, I had to become comfortable with being seen. Like your brother. Like I'm tall, I'm big, I'm a big person. You know what I mean? So I couldn't avoid it. And a lot of big stature people try to avoid it. And a lot of smaller people I've met want to be seen. It's like what Drake said, like rappers want to be actors and actors want to be rappers.
That part.
And, like do you feel me? Like do what resonates to you. Do what's in your highest calling. Do what excites you. Be around people whose eyes light up when they see you.
Right.
They speak about your name in good rooms. They put your name on applications that's good for you, that's bringing you abundance. But we got to start with seeing that love for ourselves. I think a lot of people are just now recognizing they don't love themselves as much as they thought they did.
And they not being authentic. It causes an unauthentic, lifestyle for people. And you don't even know what you like, And that's honestly what y'all were talking about, through the entertainment. These people tell you what you like. You know what I'm saying? They're telling you what you like. And so like I can't think of his name, but he was like essentially talking about, attraction and, rejection. So by being 100% authentically yourself, some people aren't going to like you, but it's not rejection, it's protection, because they're not supposed to be there. They're not meant to support you. You get what I'm saying? What is for you will be for you. I say,
yeah. And it took me a minute to get that. It took me a minute because my niece was like, Auntie, you don't have to be, liked by everybody. And it's like, it's not that. It's just that I think I'm not so used to being liked. First of all, I probably got like 2 times I can remember where people actually came to me and told me how I offended them or how they perceive what I said. But yeah, it was like, it's not that I want to be liked by everybody. It's just that if I don't have an issue with somebody, I never understood why. Like I felt like they made something out they ass up to be not in close proximity with me. And it was hard to let people go, right? That was the thing that I struggled with. But once I got it, like, oh, it had nothing to do with me. You weren't supposed to be here to see and witness all of these. Okay, now it is challenging because I'm still like, I feel like I deal with, I share with both of y'all that my twin passed before I was born, actually. And I think naturally I always have that sense of attachment. The fact that I didn't get to experience my life with my twin physically here. And then it was like 37, 38 before I was like, well, spiritually, my twin has always been with me. Literally, like I've experienced death inside the womb, which is why I think I have a challenge with, I see death differently than most people. Because it's like I experienced it before I entered in Earth's realm. I had already experienced a level of death. And so as far as the attachment thing, when I get great people and I feel like they're great, I want to keep them around as long as they're supposed to be around. And only when I see a need for them not to be around. When they see the need, it's like, well, what?
Right. And I think that ties into what both of y'all were saying. You know what I mean? How, she said they tell you how to feel. And that's the programming. They tell us these natural occurrences and feelings are negative feelings and negative things, and what you're experiencing is survivor's guilt, survivor's remorse. We all go through that, especially after a battle and after there's loss. You feel guilty because you ain't always lived in a favorable way. You like, why would God choose me? Like,
right.
You know what I mean? That motherfucker was head of accounting. Like, why me? I just sleep. Like, why me?
My siblings used to tell me that I ate my twin because I ate so much when I was younger.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to compare myself to my father or like live up to him. And what I thought was going to bring us closer, our bonding was to be like him. Right. And so my sisters used to pick on me, telling me that a set of two sets of sisters, but one of them used to say, yeah, you know, you ate your twin in mommy's womb. Like they used to say that. And I really, like, I'm one of them children, like you tell me I was related to R. Kelly, I believe it. I'm going around telling people, yeah, R. Kelly, my cousin, his mama, B. Kelly is my aunt.
Got
You know, we ain't seen
receipts.
him in a minute. But if you tell me that, I'm going to believe it, and then I'm going to share it with everybody. Like,
Yeah.
yo, R. Kelly is really my cousin.
Don't brag about
My name
this.
is B. Kelly. Like,
That's funny. And that's the beauty of children. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of transitioning and maturing into an adult. First, you have to realize you didn't know any better.
Right.
And then second, we got to accept those other people were children too. You know what I mean?
That's
They're childish.
Right.
They petty. They gonna be petty. Because we need that. It develops a tough skin. It starts to teach you to not care about what people think.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And we can unpersonalize it. Because a lot of times our traumas, we make it personal. Like y'all was saying, like we think this was intended for us, but we was just in a way of where they was aiming. You know what I mean? If we look behind us, there was somebody like, thank God you stepped in. I prayed for this. Thank God. You know what I mean? And that learned me, that taught me what meditation was about on another level. It was about being still. It was about sometimes we're just rushing through life, and that's why we get in the way. We're a casualty. We end up at that intersection we wasn't even supposed to be at. You did.
Right.
And these are the things we have to think about. This is the preventative medicine. We're not obsessing about the future. We're preparing and planning for the future. So then we don't got to act all shocked when things don't work out. Like, really? You knew this was happening. You dig? And my maturity was accepting that, holding myself accountable. You know there's a big test. You got 2 weeks. Start studying today. Because you would start studying 2 days, try to cram. You irritated the morning of the test. You might still get a B, but you like, man, I could have did better.
Right.
You know what I mean? So don't even put yourself, that's self-love. Don't even put yourself through the ringer. Give yourself an alternative. Give yourself a fighting chance. And that's a lot of times why we're attacking ourselves and we feel like, man, I deserve this punishment. I deserve for them to walk out on me. I deserve not to get picked for that job. Well, I'm going to do the lottery. I probably won't win, but I'm going to scratch it off anyway. You engaging in things you don't even feel confident in. You know what I mean? And again, this is a reaction to what you allow, to what you tell yourself. What you feed will grow. So those negative thoughts come to even the strongest minded of people, but we don't feed into them. You know what I mean? And my magic I use is none of them are negative. There's no losses. Like it's all a lesson. It's all an opportunity for me to grow. It's an opportunity for me to get to experience a new person. So now maybe when we talk, I got to call her Japan for some business. We can relate. You know what I mean? He talking about growing up with his grandma and fried chicken. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know that. That's familiar. You dig? We can come together versus me like, oh, he can't relate to me. He don't know he ain't had no big mama. You know what I mean? You dig? So when we start accepting who we are, it's easier to accept other people. But when we're so closed off in who we could be, because it's so scary to think about us being that person. It's scary thinking of us climbing to those heights. You dig? That's the first work. The work shows us what work needs to do as long as we show up for the work. We're at the right job, you dig? But you can't get no work done. You showing up to the wrong building because everybody's job seems fun until you actually been there for 20 years, till you done got hurt on a job, till they ain't pay you your money one of them times. You dig? Everything seems cool. So when we start realizing everybody has their own battles, everybody has their own struggles, we don't sit in it and dwell. We realize, man, if we come together, we can fix these problems. That's the duality. If something's trying to get in my way, that means I have a choice to not let it. You dig?
Yeah.
But since it's a choice, I can also let it get in my way.
Right. And because, like you said earlier, you were talking about the body and how, you have reactions. And I like that you said, the first time you said reactions, and the other time you said symptoms. But I like reactions because, symptoms are only the reactions of the body, like trying to assist in your healing. You get a fever to burn something out. You coughing to get it out. You know what I'm saying? To like help assist in your healing.
Right.
So when you have a person that continuously attracts narcissists, well, what lesson haven't you learned? Okay.
Yeah.
So these things are reactions. So it's telling you, hey, you need to work on this, but you're not working on it. So you're going to continuously get the same result because you're doing the same thing.
Right.
You know? So it's like,
we're not using symptoms no more. We're using reactions.
yeah,
I like
reaction.
how
Yeah.
you put
How,
that.
how do we find out what the reaction is from though? You know what I'm saying? It's just like going to the doctor. Okay, well, you having this reaction, this reaction, this reaction. Well, it could be the flu. You know what I'm saying? It could be this. So that's what we have to do when we start to see a pattern in the things that we don't like in our life. Oh, well, this pattern is here because of this.
Mm.
And
And
then
the
you're going to go into it and like you're going to have to do the work, which is what you were talking about, shadow work and doing all of that. But we have to understand that, like you said, the programming, I like to kind of like say everything is happening at one time, right? So your childhood, that child is still there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So as you deconstruct those, constructs, that child's world is falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? It's like in Chicken Little when he was like, "The sky is falling." Like that child is literally like that. Like when stuff is crumbling, like because
Nothing makes sense no more.
yeah, it doesn't make sense. And the child is like, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? So that shadow work, you're feeling that anxiety. You feeling like, because those intrusive thoughts, you on the expressway and it's a turn and you like, I'm gonna just go straight. This shadow work ain't working. Like, hey, get it together.
Use the directions.
Right. And this is so dope because I had 2 conversations this week, one with a global group. And one of the things that one of the ladies said on there as I was talking to her, how what sets me apart from a lot of the other birth workers that do this work, because they really trying to do things by a false book. And I don't talk about the book because I live this. So I know what it is to be pregnant and to give birth. Even though each birth is different, once you do it, you know. And so I was telling her how one thing that plagues and promotes infant mortality, which is dying before the age of 1, is they push this leave the child alone on their backs in their crib. Like that's a thing. ABC, alone on your back, crib. They literally teach this shit to people, and they're teaching birth workers to teach it to the families. So in line with that is the formula, right? And I want y'all to pay attention to meanings and words. Like everything means something. We're giving our babies a formula. We don't know the formula. They know the formula. We don't, right? So what happens is babies' bodies start again going into this, like they said, our bodies are set up to be the best. And we could put shit in it all day, but it's still gonna be like, blah, blah, blah. We want you to be the best.
I don't want that.
Right. So babies align. What do babies that are bottle fed formula have in common is the acid reflux, is the spitting up. What is that doing to their inside, to their esophagus, to the teeth that's supposed to come in, and ultimately the rest of their body? So this lady was like, yeah, when that process of keeping them alone, keeping them on the formula is actually creating an individual that don't need family.
Yeah.
Because we have a natural response in our body as infants to say, hey, if I want to survive, I need to be with y'all.
Yeah.
So I cry for y'all. I cry for y'all. You say what, Tim?
I said, take me with you. Where y'all going?
Right.
Take
exactly.
me with you. They want to go.
Exactly. We naturally have that. And if we can just take a moment and be like, okay, we are inventors of life and see how this thing works, we can see that, okay, the child is with the mother inside this incubator, feeling every single thing that goes through her body, every joy, every happiness, every cry, everything she's going through, the baby's feeling. But then you want to tell me that when I come to Earthside, I got to sit in this cold ass bed by myself looking around. I can't smell you. I can't feel your heartbeat. I can't feel your breath. Like the things that I was used to feeling that made me feel comfort to stay inside you and stay close to you. Now you're abandoning me and putting me in this state. On top of that, you're giving me this foreign fucking food and you want me to be successful in life?
Like, this is how you set me up. You start me off here and expect for me not to end up running rampant in my community, stealing cars and talking bad to you and just doing other stuff. We're creating the monsters that we're trying to tame now. And it's starting at birth. And the lady said, yeah, it's a sense. She said something about, oh, my notebook ain't close enough, but she mentioned something about the trauma that they go through, and we experience it over again at school stage, where you're sending them off to school to be with strangers that you've only met the night before.
Have authority over them.
And you want them to have the best interest for your child. So I'm not condemning anyone. People say I have that approach, but I'm really saying this shit that our ancestors have been saying to wake you up to how you live. You may not be able to homeschool today. You may not be able to change your eating habits today. But if you had the thought to say, oh, I desire longevity, I desire to do X, Y, and Z within my family, well, then start there. Like, okay, I can't homeschool my children today, or I can't break this cycle. But start with just having a conversation with yourself of what it would look like for your children or you if you did X, Y, and Z different. Like, no condemnation. But if your spirit is tapping you, saying, hey, listen up to this, she said that, they said this, then it's for you. The time is now.
I think really it's just you're having a call to arms. You dig? Like, you're telling people we've not did the work, we've complained. Now it's time to do the work.
Right.
You know what I mean? Simple as put. And what's happening, this connection is something you touched on earlier. People can no longer associate with the child in them. You dig what I'm saying? So they're not even looking at the world anymore from a child's perspective. That's too scary for them. You know what I mean? Because what people would think. So even thinking about laying in that crib, think about, put yourself in the baby's pamper. Like, you're looking through a jail cell. It looks like bars set up around you.
That's really, it's womb to prison immediately. And I was talking to a client the other day
about, you comfortable in them bars.
I was talking to her about just how we and I used to say this on a different scale, like how is it that people expect these little your offspring to get it, and they only been on earth for like 2 or 3 years? You've been here 30, 40 years and you still ain't got it. But you want to beat them into submission because that's what you've been taught. And so I was telling this lady, she was like, yeah, well, I did this and that with my daughter on the pot, and she should be peeing right now. And I'm like, but she been in a diaper for a whole year. Like, you trained her to just piss and shit when she wanted to, and now all of a sudden you want her to automatically know to go put it in the toilet. No, that was comforting. It wasn't comforting at first, but I had to figure out how to sit in my own shit, literally. As a child, I couldn't move. I couldn't change myself. I cried for you. You took however long you wanted. Like, you never got the rhythm of my body knowing that waste was coming. You just made me sit in this shit. And then you want us to automatically change the mind.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, you old enough now. No, we got to have some dialogue, some conversation, because I wasn't born to remain an infant.
Exactly.
I was, so I'm born to, at some point, to be where you are and even higher. So how do we get there? We really got to, like, the same way when you talk about mental health and these other things, they're on like the basic lowest level. Like, if you never had a dictionary, if you never knew nothing, and you just woke up one day like, the sun is out. Let me go see what that's about. Ooh, it feels good.
Right.
I slap somebody in the face. Oh, they're crying. That don't feel good. It's that simple. Okay, I'm not going to slap you no more because I don't want to feel bad, but I also don't want you feeling bad. You know what I'm saying? So it's learned behavior, and we're just ignoring because we've been so okay with being fake and not telling the truth. That's why you really got to attack the little shits. Oh, the tooth fairy, and man. If you're gonna do things like this, make it to where you're honoring people in your family.
Yeah.
Because if I don't know if another name, but if somebody else in your family was considered like a tooth fairy or considered like whatever, I would much rather that than some long line of something else where it probably is a spirit up in there coming up in there while you sleep at night. You giving them permission to take your whatever, huh?
But I think you just gave an example why in most cases you don't even have to denounce the tooth fairy. I feel like most of the kids who don't believe in that is because, like you said, someone in their family had already filled that. So how could, you know, a little fairy be doing this if my aunt do it? You feel me?
Right.
Like, so you just become that thing. And then we'll find ourselves less and less asking for what we think we want or who we want to become. And we'll speak more towards the gratitude of, man, I'm thankful for what I have. You know what I mean? Because if we, that's why I was saying earlier, like, people want to compare where it's safe and comfortable. Like, compare the fact that you live in a house and somebody live outside. That'll change your perspective. You comparing the fact you don't drive a Bentley. Like, that ain't all you think it is, bro. Compare the fact you got heat in your house and people live outside.
Mechanic fee.
Yeah, right. Like, why we compare real things to realize things ain't as bad as we want to pretend they are, but it's because that gets the attention. That gets the outward, the public validation, the things people are after. You know what I mean? So the fact you're after those things says, okay, you got to heal. And the fact that you're panicking says you don't heal much. I love my triggers because now I'm like, ooh, we got more work to do. I have more purpose. I have more reasons to be here. Because if I had no reason to be on earth, I would not be here. I understand why people make that choice because it's an easy choice. It's hard to get up and find reasons to push through your day. It's hard to want to pay bills when you want to live with the animals in the woods. Like, this ain't easy. If people be like, at least you got an apartment. Like, I don't want that. I didn't choose this life chose me.
Right.
I live outside right now, Lord willing. You feel me? But the universe didn't want me to do that because the universe knew I would get comfortable there. That's what I want. So it had to give me the complete opposite. So to prove to me, like, you're a spiritual warrior, like you can do whatever. Like you said, you grew up in the winter, bro. Like, you know what I mean? People don't know. Like, I used to live in Boston. Like, we used to have 3-4 feet of snow. Like, snow would be to the top of your car. And people are here complaining about ice. You feel me? Like, go somewhere it really snows and realize their whole life is a fight. Every lunch is a fight. You feel me? But hey, sometimes we gotta submerge ourselves into that. You dig?
So how do you? So I hear what you're saying. I know I practice this with you, but I guess, like, for people who, how do you go there? What's the process of coming out? Because I guess sometimes mentally they're gonna go to this space and of comparison or whatever or not necessarily even, like, sometimes I feel like I go there and I'm not trying to even say I don't appreciate what's happening, good or bad, like, right? Because I know everything is for my good at the end of the day, if it's, even if it is what I consider to be bad. But how do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, what's the process?
Right.
So the process for me, I always do lowest common denominator. I always work myself down to the lowest common sense of logic. So if I'm looking at, again, me and Drake, and I'm like, okay, he has this money, I have this money. You feel me? We can compare that. Okay, let's look at how we are with our kids. Like, we can compare that. Like, let's see him, you know, play me on the court. Like, we can compare that. That's gonna be different. But when I get to the lowest common denominator is we're equal. We're equal. We both have life. We both woke up this morning. We're even. You feel me? So we can compare, but compare fairly. Compare honestly. Don't compare a fish on, you know, its ability to fly. Because then the game's already rigged. You're not looking for truth. You're trying to prove something. This is personal to you. So if you're going to compare, make it realistic. You know what I mean? We both ate today. We even. We on the same playing field. We both told somebody I love you today. We on the same playing field. And that's what we have to realize. Because a lot of our conversations that start as people is instantly our differences. But we got to realize more ways that we're the same thing. Because again, we all the same energy, just broken off into different sources, experiencing the world through its perspective. But we're all the same thing. You dig? And that's the programming. It got us thinking we different. And that's why I always compare it to Frito-Lay. We grew up, they had us thinking Cheetos and Doritos was beefing, just to grow up and realize the same company owns all of them. It blew my little mind. I was upset. I was frustrated when I found that out. I really thought they had beef.
Hey, that's what they
do. We're too busy looking at, you know, red bag or blue bag instead of we're both chips. We're both food. We're both nourishment. Somebody needed us today. Somebody fought for us today. Somebody lost their life over us today.
Somebody is waiting for you today to answer your calling.
Yeah. So that's how you know to pull yourself out. You got to get in tune with the universe. You got to know that voice. You got to know when the wind's blowing, like, go this way, get out of there. versus like, oh, it's just a chilly day. Nah, that's your ancestors. Like, get out of there. You know what I mean? But like she said, it's practice. Practice makes progress. So you gotta do it. And the more the key is the more you do it, the better you get. It's a numbers game. So if I want to get good at something, I do it an infinite number of times. You feel me?
That was a post that I posted on Facebook yesterday from Dr. Denard out of Tallahassee, Florida. Let me actually go and read that really quick. This is it was about, I had made a post probably about a couple of weeks ago asking for people to share their insights for, the post said something like, is there a safe space for young men to go and share or like manage their emotions? And his response to that was, you do not manage your emotions, you manage behavior. And that requires self-knowledge, which is what you mentioned in the beginning of the show. And a repertoire of successful responses to stressors that are learned. Listen up, Buttercup. These are the words from the highly respected living elder. So this man is in his 70s. He's a professor at FAMU. He teaches yoga and meditation, definitely from a holistic approach where it's not the mainstream trending yoga, right? This is something that's more cultural and it's sacred, and it really identifies with everything the show was about today when it comes to mental health and tapping in and going inward and all of these other things that was attached to all of that. So we need you need practice, you need repertoire, you need to be able to, if you cheated on somebody, you know, and that was your thing. Now you need to have some relationships where not only this intimate, but some practice where you being true to yourself. And you need to do that over and over again when you choose to be true to yourself in this same situation. Or if you're gambling and you always, you know, gamble the rent money, and you know, you gotta have the same type of behavior toward the understanding the priorities, like, right, put in the priority and saying no several times over and over again to show that you've managed that behavior. It's not about the emotion, because the emotion is coming based on how you act, right? We said about the actions earlier. We said it's not symptoms, it's action. So we have an emotion based on what we do or don't do, right? Or based on what somebody else is doing. But now the healing comes where we practice how we respond to whatever it is, good or bad. How am I showing up in this situation? And all that and the other. Listen, I am, he said, blue bag gang all day. I red bag all day.
Oh, I used to tear some Cheetos up back in the day.
I put them both together. You know what I'm saying? I do want to add one more thing, because I know it's approaching 12, so we got like 13 more minutes. I had my tea today, and Tim, did your tea have a thing? Did you have a saying on your
messages?
Tea?
Nah.
Okay, I'm gonna read mine. It says,
working on bagging our own tea. That's the next venture.
Hey, it ain't nothing but two staples in a tea bag. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, tea is the easiest thing to create. Literally, you just drying out some herbs, mixing it together, and they literally staple the bag. They staple a string on the bag. It's that simple. Like, anyway, that's another story. But mine say, celebrate your successes and failures. Both require great courage. It's like wrapping in with the show, the synchronicity with things. I love that. Like,
yeah, be at balance. I think that's all life is about, is finding your balance and not allowing anyone to tell you what your balance is. But yeah, we're gonna wrap up there. It's been a great show. This was exciting. I'm gonna pass it around. We got a lot of exciting things coming this year. We got children's books that we're about to start, working on. I'm about to start putting together more book fairs and events for other authors and people that want to learn how to get their books out there. Right now, me and Walli on Sundays, we're doing yoga and meditation. It's free, very free.
Starting
so make
next
sure
Sunday.
You follow our page, and the flyers is on there. I'm not a big remember all dates and locations type of person. So the flyers is on there. Follow us. You'll get the information. You'll get every event. I'm blessed that we get to do this, and we're gonna make sure we always do this. We come through weekly. We bring new, fresh, exciting guests. It was a pleasure meeting you. I feel like we all gonna be collaborating, doing some wonderful things. That's all I got. You go ahead, Wally.
Yeah, man. Listen, y'all have a wonderful, safe weekend. It's a lot of stuff going on in the city, as far as events go, and it's a lot of snow outside. So, couple things to remember: riding the snow, we Ohioans, is take your damn time. Okay, you the author of this, so take your time, breathe, and don't put that extra pressure on yourself, especially in these conditions, to show up and be on arrive at a certain time on the clock. Like, listen, hey, somebody in the comments said, and stay dope, right? I just want to leave y'all with, again, we not here because we are it. Well, we is it. I want to say we ain't here because we have arrived at a certain level, right? As Tim said, every time we take a nap, every time we sleep, every time we eat and drink, the body's healing. It's getting nourishment, and it's healing itself. And I got frustrated because I was like, when am I ever going to be healed from the things that have happened to me over the years? And it's like, that's not even the focus. The focus is just to continue to heal, right? Understand that life is a continuous healing journey. And it's no ending in sight, like that mountain. It's something that the way our bodies is created, our cells are going to continue to regenerate every day. It's a healing process. So likewise, as you're going out into the world and you're sharing your time and energy with people, give yourself some grace, boo, because listen, the world is going to tear you up and spit you out. Understand? So you better treat yourself like you mean something and like you really want to be around. All right. That's all I got. Oh,
what you got? Go ahead.
Oh, we mentioned the events already. So
yeah.
The yoga and meditation is not this Sunday, it's the following Sunday. So okay, yes.
Go ahead, Ms. Day. What you got for him? What you want to leave him on? Tell him where to find you at socially.
Yeah, socially, my is at The Energy Surgeon. That's my personal page. And then you can find Shalom's Awakening Touch at Shalom Awake. And I leave with you all, you know, I know this is the seasonal depression time, and so ensuring that you show gratitude when you wake up in the risings. Gratitude can take you so far. It changes your frequency, it changes your mindset. And as you continuously show gratitude, you're gonna start attracting different, and you're going to be in that positive thoughts phase. So, yes, show gratitude. It's important.
Awesome. Yes, y'all don't forget to like, share, and comment. Y'all know there's still the event going on where the person that gets the most likes, share, and subscribes could win a gift card to CJ Soul, where Layne is the DJ there on Friday nights. He didn't say if he was going to be there tonight, so y'all want to check his page to see if that's something that's going on tonight. Other than that, we're going to see y'all here, same place, same time, next Friday. Y'all be well, and most importantly, be yourself, honey, because there's only one you out there, all right?
Hey, peace.
It's lit. Y'all, later. All right, leave.